I'm Shoestring Jane and welcome back to my channel and welcome to my last day of Vlogmas, day 24, Christmas Eve. We're there, woohoo! Can't believe I've vlogged every single day so far during December. Very proud of myself, I have to say. I didn't think I would do it. I'm going to start with my Advent of Change calendar. So we're opening the last window, which has been trying to open itself for days actually. I haven't looked in yet, so we've got a large window. And we have Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from the team at Advent of Change and all 24 amazing charities. Together we are making a huge difference. Thank you for opening up to change. And today it's food cycle. You've given a healthy hot meal to someone struggling to make ends meet this Christmas. So that was my Advent of Change calendar. I've really enjoyed doing that every day. I think that's such a worthwhile thing to buy as a kind of Christmas charity donation. So I'll get another one of those next year. And it's funny, isn't it, with the ending on that one where, you know, the idea that most of us have enough and we have an excess at Christmas and some people don't really have enough for a hot meal. And it's awful, isn't it? But then you can't feel guilty to the point where you don't enjoy your own Christmas, but it does make me feel anyway personally that I need to do a bit more. I need to put a few more things in the food bank. I need to donate to the Trust. I need to just choose some other charities. I have some charities that I've supported long term, but they tend to be environmental charities. So perhaps I need to be looking at, you know, what I'm giving during 2024. I've got all the girls here now, so they're not actually in the house. I've only got Chloe in the house. Izzy is around and Becky is in her own home. She lives locally doing stuff ready for Christmas, and we're all off to Justin's mum's to do a bit of a gathering this afternoon, so that'll be really nice. So I've got my chocolate hazelnut thing that I made yesterday. That's all ready to go, and I've just got to put together a salad to take, so that's easy peasy. So I'm just kind of starting to think, well, I've done all the prep, done everything I needed to do. I've got the house is clean, the presents are wrapped and obviously purchased. The food is all bought. And so now is the time to just kind of settle into it and enjoy the season, really. So that's what I'm aiming to do now. But me and Chloe were having an interesting conversation this morning. Very funny, because she started the morning and I said, would you like some cream in your coffee? And she said, have you got any Baileys? I didn't have Baileys, but I had a version of Baileys that I think it was Aldi do. So she had a chocolate fake Baileys in her coffee. I said, why not? It's Christmas. She's on holiday. I still couldn't do it myself, I don't think. But I'm going to definitely have one of those at some point because it looked and smelled delicious. Anyway, talking to Chloe about money generally, and because she's recently had a promotion and I'm being boring mum and saying, you've got to save money, you've got to save money. And she's saying, I am saving money. I'm putting money aside. And she wants to go travelling in the future and that kind of thing. And so she's saving money, but I'm saying, no, you need to invest money because you've got to think about your future. And she lives in London. She's not ever going to be able to buy a house in London, I doubt anyway, unless she becomes a millionaire. But she might be able to buy a house somewhere at some point, and if she saves money and saves a deposit. So I'm a bit being boring mummy this morning. And a few things cropped up when we were talking about money. And one of them was like lifestyle creep and how, I mean, it's affected me already because I've had a couple of pensions come in this year since I hit 60. I have loosened the purse strings, and there's nothing wrong with that if you can afford it. And, you know, things are budgeted for, but I definitely have loosened the purse strings without making a plan for the extra money, and I do need to do that. So I've been thinking about that the last few days. It's so easy, isn't it? You think, well, I'm earning more money, I can spend more money, and before you know it, the things that were wants, like, I don't know, perhaps going to the gym and having a gym membership, you could afford those, and then so you do those, and then they become a need in your head, and you think, I need those things. And then you perhaps have other things you need. You need to regularly go out to dinner. It becomes, in your head, it becomes a need rather than a want. And that's lifestyle creep, and you need new furniture. And because you can afford it, you've got a little bit more money. And whilst you can totally afford it, then it's absolutely fine. I'm struggling to take myself seriously whilst these things are bouncing around, actually. But there might come a point where even though you're earning more money, you're spending a lot more. So you just have to avoid that kind of lifestyle creep. And are you making the best of your money? Could you be investing it in something? Could you be putting some away in your emergency fund? Is there something that you should be saving for rather than just spending it? So it's a question of living within your means, isn't it? And your means may be more than someone else's, but if you what's the old saying, isn't it, from Dickens? If you spend, even if it's just £1 more than you earn, then you're going to face a miserable future because you can have debt. If you spend £1 less than you earn, well, hey, good to go. So living within your means is kind of important, isn't it? And it's a bit boring kind of thinking about this as we approach Christmas, but it is a time when we've spent a lot of money, a lot of us, and we might be feeling slightly anxious about how much we've spent, and maybe some of us have taken out some debt to get through Christmas, and it feels like, although don't spend the Christmas period worrying about money, set it aside, maybe still also have a plan to, if you feel anxious, if you've got that anxiety, then you probably need a new plan for 2024. And maybe just put that on your list of jobs to do next week when Christmas is all over and you're considering the new year, and maybe New Year's resolutions if you make them, or just a plan for your future. Maybe it is a good time. It's a natural time, isn't it, to think about how you move forward. It's a new year, new beginnings, and it's a good time to make some resolutions, or think about different ways of doing things. So because it's a fact that sometimes you feel broke and you always feel like you're always in your overdraft. So I'm just going to grab my coffee. As usual, don't want to let it go cold. You feel like you're broke and you're always in your overdraft, or you've always got a bit of credit card debt, and yet you have a good income or reasonable income. So if you really look at your income and your outgoings and take out some of the wants rather than some of the needs, you might find that actually you can easily live within your means and more, and you can manage your money better, and you could save money for your future and that kind of thing, and you could really achieve the things you want to do with your money that you think, oh, it's too difficult to save for a holiday. I'd love to take the family away on holiday, but we don't have enough cash. And you think, well, actually, if you reevaluate your spending and what's really important and prioritise, then actually you can live within your means and more, and achieve some of the things you'd like to achieve. Do you like my new mug, by the way? I can't remember if I've shown you these or not. I had my favourite mug, which is a little knitted mug, and I broke it. I picked it up and just literally, I don't know what happened, it just fell to the floor, smashed into a million pieces, and I was really upset about it. And I looked on eBay and looked for knitted mugs, and these were the only ones I could find, and I found one the same colour, which was just cream, but it also had 4 others, all different colours, and I really like them. They're very rustic looking, and they were only £10, so I was really pleased with those. And we needed a few new mugs. I actually can't believe I needed a few new mugs. I cleared out some of the chipped ones, and the ones we never use because they're too big and your coffee goes cold in them and that kind of thing, so I cleared them out. So these will actually get used very frequently, probably every day. Anyway, going back to my conversation that I had with Chloe, I was just talking to her about the importance, hindsight is a great thing, I did not do this when I was her age, but the importance of setting yourself up for a secure future when you're in your 20s and 30s. It's so, you don't know what the future's going to bring. You don't know who you're going to be with, whether you're going to be alone, and what the economy is going to be like. You don't know any of those things. And in my view, if you can have a paid off home, then you are just so far ahead of the game. If you can have a home that you own outright, you haven't got landlord putting up the rent when they feel like it, or deciding to sell the property from under you and that kind of thing, then you have a lot of security, and you've got an option of making money from your home, as well. If you need another income, you can rent out a room, those kind of things. So, I just think it's important when you're younger to set yourself up for a secure future. And I'm saying this to somebody who didn't do that, and totally by luck and not by my judgment, I have ended up okay. I did invest in pensions. I just did it. I don't think really, I never thought about opting out. You could opt out, but I didn't, luckily for me, didn't opt out. And Justin was very good with his investments. He invested money and he's actually paid off our mortgage. So he actually was much more clever with his money than I ever was. But I look back now and I think, well, over the last 10, 15 years, I've been good with money. But I had lots of years and lots of opportunities to be much better with my money. And I wasn't. And I don't want my children to make the same mistake. But obviously they think I'm boring, you know. It's like, and also I think I make Chloe a bit anxious talking about it. So I said, well, okay, don't aim for buying a home just yet, but invest some money. Actually invest it. Don't just put it in something you can access. Have a look at some of the companies that do little portfolios and put in something regularly, and then anything you earn from it, reinvest it, and that would be a lump that you'll have for the future and give you options. So this is what I've been saying to her today. Looking ahead for me, I know that my car is probably going to go at some point. It was a second-hand car when I got it, and it wasn't an expensive car, but it was a great little car and I love it and I really want it to keep going, but it's currently off the road. It's got a broken spring. We've got a friend dealing with that for us. Luckily, Justin and his brother know a mechanic who charges very little. He's really, really good prices. So he took my car through the MOT and he pointed out a few things and sorted them out for me. But now they've got the broken spring, I think I must have gone down a pothole or something. So I think looking ahead, that is an old car. So I need to rather than just having a general savings fund, which includes the car and car repairs, I need to have a very specific sinking fund for a car for the future. So I'm going to be really thinking about that this year and prepping for that as a future expense. But your future expenses might be different. I mean, you might need to build an emergency fund. So I have an emergency fund, but I could probably have a bigger emergency fund. So I'd like to put a bit more in that this year. But if you really should have at least £1,000. That's the figure that Dave Ramsey puts in, and I agree with him on that. I think aiming for a nice round £1,000 is enough for small emergencies. So obviously you can have more than that. They say 3 to 6 months of your income would be ideal, but that's a big chunk. So it may be that you can't afford to do that in one go. That could be a longer term goal. And then you might have long term goals like saving up for a car, or saving up for a home, or paying off debt, or saving your emergency fund to make it bigger. Or you might just have things for the year to think about. So, and that might be a holiday, that might be something that you want to save for this year, but obviously not if you've got debt. Do that first, I would say. Or you might have car repairs, thinking you'll have car repairs coming up, or you might have some school trips, and they might be small, but if you've got a few kids and you've got lots of school trips, or one starting secondary school and all of the uniform and equipment coming up in 2024, then that is something to save for in advance, because that, from what I remember, was a big expense. And you end up buying lots of equipment that they never use, which is really annoying, like hockey sticks and things like that. But you kind of feel like you don't want your child to be the odd one out and not have those things. I would always get them secondhand if you can, though, so plan ahead with that. And then always, plan ahead. I always pay for Christmas up front. I've always saved money for Christmas up front, and in recent years, and it's really, really such a weight off, because I know the money's there. I don't worry about it. I don't go into debt over Christmas, and it's so good to start the new year and not have debt from Christmas. You might have birthdays as well, or other festivals. You might not celebrate Christmas. You might have other festivals that end up costing you money. So I think it's a good time to reevaluate and reprioritise your money and your spending, and kind of set yourself up for success and in 2024. I know it's difficult, because sometimes it doesn't matter how careful you are with your money. If you don't have enough coming in and you're managing it all well and you've budgeted to the nth degree, cost of living is still an issue, isn't it? It's not gone away. Things might have dropped in some areas, but in some areas they really haven't. And you can change the way you spend your money and buy less of things and that kind of thing, and really, really budget, do without certain things. But in the end, if you haven't got enough coming in, then it's always going to be a problem. And, you know, I've been through that situation where there wasn't enough money coming in, and despite having a full-time job. So, I mean, the way I managed it was to have a range of side hustles. I've mentioned this in other videos. So I did things like sell stuff on eBay. I taught yoga. I took in a lodger, and actually taking a lodger was something we both did, obviously, and that was a good thing. And the other thing we did was taking foreign students when the girls were still at home or hadn't quite left. So they were at university but just came back for holidays. So we had spare rooms some of the times. We couldn't have a permanent lodger, but we could have students. So we'd have foreign language students coming in, and that was a good little earner and fun, a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing it. I had a friend who used to rent out her driveway. She lived quite close to town, and she went off to work, took her car with her and rented it to somebody who worked in town. So it was really handy. So you can do things like that. There's all sorts of ways of earning extra money once you start to look. If you have a spare room, that is really your quids in, I think, especially if you live in a holiday town and you could do perhaps Airbnb, that kind of thing. That's always an option. You could just go through your stuff, have a New Year declutter, and sell anything that you don't use and that you don't want, and make a good chunk for whatever you need to save for. You might start some other side hustles. So perhaps you can teach some kind of class. Perhaps you have a particular skill or talent that your local adult education college would pay you to do, and that is a lot of fun as well. That's what I did with the yoga. You might do something like cleaning. I've done that recently. Dog walking, I do that every day, and nobody pays me for that, but you know, I've got a dog. I could easily go to get somebody else's dog and do some dog walking as well. Bar work, I've done that in the past. My children have done bar work as well, just to top up their income. There's all kinds of things you can do. I would say babysitting. I think that's good for students, but I babysat all the time. But I think now you have to get Ofsted regulated, and for good reason. You know, you should get CRB checks and things like that. But as I say, it's not a time to be going to the holidays and really worrying about money. But if you've just got in the back of your mind, I am going to get things straight for 2024. And then once the holiday season is over, make a plan, sit down, make a plan, read some books, watch some good YouTubers, know what they're talking about. And, you know, just decide that 2024 is going to be the year that you sort stuff out. You get your finances straight, you get out of debt, you save up what you want to save for, you start budgeting, you start tracking your spending, all those kind of boring things my children would say. But, you know, it gives you so much comfort and so much less anxiety. And I think we live in a very uncertain world. I think if you can set yourself up for future security, then your future self will really thank you for that. Anyway, I really hope you've enjoyed watching my Vlogmas. I've loved doing it. It's been a lot of time, but I've really enjoyed doing it. And I really hope that you like and subscribe so that you can see what I'm going to come up with in the new year. And have a lovely, lovely holiday period, whether you're home with family, whether you're working, if you're alone, enjoy yourself anyway. Have a great Christmas and have a lovely new year. And I will see you at some point after Christmas. I'm not sure when yet, but if you like and subscribe, you'll get a notification when I publish a new video. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me on my journey. Bye for now.